I did a Highland Games, Colin, and you were the compare, and I was like, oh my God, that's the man that does the comparing on the World's Strongest Man. Really? So I was all a bit like, whoa. And then you were asking me where I was from, and I was like, oh, I'm from Yorkshire. And what would you like to be? And I was like, oh, I'd like to be Britain's Strongest Woman. And you were like, yeah, all right. And then when I won World's Strongest Woman in 2017, you had to give me my trophy, and I was like, boom.
One of the toughest strongmen in history, right here. It's not a beauty contest. It's a strongman. Have to be alive. If you can't do that, then on the way we go.
Welcome to the Giants Life Strongman podcast, as ever, with Daz, Colin, and myself. But today's guest is one of the strongest women who's ever lived. Give it up for Donna Moore.
Hey, Donna.
Donna, you are an incredible athlete, but I think anyone who's seen you before will be saying, wow, you're looking lean. You've changed a fair bit.
I have just recently decided to compete in the next weight class down, which is middleweight women at 82 kilo.
And what were you before?
Varying weights. So from about 105 to about 90 and now 82.
And so you've lost how much?
About 25 kilos.
It's a big amount.
And what was your main sort of reason for doing that?
Just really because I wanted to lose weight and also try a different weight class, and I think I'd be more competitive in there. I've been in the heavyweight women for a long time, but with more and more women coming into the sport who are getting bigger and bigger, the disparity between the weights of people is a lot. So I feel to be more competitive, I would be better with people who weigh the same as I do.
That makes sense, yeah. And healthy as well. Do you feel healthier?
Yeah, I feel so much better in myself and just in general life, even just going clothes shopping, which is like, it's like a female thing. I want to go and buy clothes, yeah.
It is a question. Do you think the weight categories, therefore, need addressed? I mean, do they need changed? Or what would your perfect weight categories be? Or should there be more? Or?
Yeah, I think the inclusion of the 73 class was really, really good at OSG this year. And it was really competitive as well within that. So for me, I would like another weight class at 90, 91, something like that. You know, so that they're, and obviously like 63, 73, 82, maybe.
What's weightlifting's highest?
Are they like 90 and open now?
Yeah, I think it's... Yeah,
I think as it grows, that's something we should definitely look at, you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, but obviously everyone's going to have their own, I want it to be this, because everyone's naturally a certain way, you know. But, I think it's definitely something to look at in the future.
I think it does just kind of divide it down a little bit. I don't think it takes away from anybody else's weight class either. It's just that there's so many women that would maybe sit around at the 90 kilo class. Like, I think probably that's where I would more naturally sit, but, you know, here I am at 82, but that's just because I am.
And what about strength? Like, you know, obviously coming down that amount of weight, have you lost a lot of strength or?
Kind of, it's dropped off my deadlift, and usually that's where it goes off the most, but I think I'm technically proficient at most other events, so that kind of like saves me really. You know, my overhead press is still within the 82 kilo class, still up there even now.
So for an example,
really peaked for any shows yet. So
yeah, so let's say you lost 20 kilos. What would you think your deadlift would be down, just roughly?
Probably at the moment it's probably about 30 kilos off it, but I think it's just learning a different setup because they've not got the same sort of body dimensions anymore. So it's just kind of working around it.
Yeah.
People do sport to stay healthy, right? Mm-hmm. First and foremost, that's the kind of first thing you should be doing it for, right? We need to have heavier weight categories. Think about it, because you're actually almost encouraging people once they get past that highest limit. If it's not that high, I mean, there's people who are, 80 kilos and then have to try and bulk against a 160 kilo person.
And I think that's
it's not a good thing to be encouraging, is it? Actually,
no.
If you had at least one more category.
And I think that one step would definitely kind of even the playing field again of the people who are that weight. So people who have to cut to 82, or like you say, people maybe get heavier to compete with people at the top end of the heavyweight women at about 150 kilos now. That's a lot of person.
The only problem is, do you risk having too many weight categories? Would it not be better merging them all up?
Extending,
pushing everything along a little bit? Would that be a thing?
I'm not really sure about that. I suppose it depends. Like, which other way did you mean? Like extending them so that it would be bigger?
Yeah. So let's say you had a 90s, but then you moved.
The fear being, if you do 10 categories, then you don't have really enough true class to say this is a world championships at this weight category.
I mean, the official Strongman Games, it's a lot of people competing as well. Vast amount. And obviously we added added another categories to the masters, females and males, and another female category, which is all great. But from a promoter's point of view, there's a hell of a lot of people. It's great. And the one thing that I found with Official Strongman, and that's our only, at the moment, avenue for where we have female competitors with Giants Live at the moment, it's male. But the females, like, just behave so much better. If you say, right, you're on next, they're there.
Yeah,
whereas the guys, like, where's he gone, No,
we're all organised, and if you say, like, here, then we'll be there. And I've even been, like, refereeing at competitions, and I'm like, make the men just stand in a line, and they were like, they won't though, and I'm like, stand in the line. And then they're like, oh, all right, you said stand in the line, I'll just stand here. I was like, good.
By the way, what are the challenges of coming down in weight? Because the lower the weights, the more athletic and fast the athletes. So with yourself, you're obviously going to lose some strength. What are the kind of pros and cons of that?
I think generally I would have been quite athletic anyway, so it's only going to be better for me. I've also joined rugby. So,
have you?
Yeah.
What position?
I don't know the rules. I'm doing the training. So
they just give you the ball and
literally that's it. And they were just like, oh my goodness, you're really, really fast. And I was like, well, it's because I'm only carrying myself and a ball. So therefore I am. So I'll be the person that runs the furthest over wherever they say to run to. I'm really good at following instructions. So catch, run, it'll be okay.
That way, Forrest.
It's going to be like that. It will be.
The reason I asked that is I remember speaking to Loz about categories. Imagining you in rugby would be incredible. That would just be frightening for so many.
You know, Judy Dunkley did some propping recently as well. Imagine Judy Dunkley in the front row with you. My goodness me. Anyway, sorry.
But the reason I ask it is because I was speaking to Loz about some of the lightweights at OSG when we were commentating, and I said, how much of a challenge would this be for you? And he said, actually, in some of this, I would lose because the yoke, for example, would be so light for me, but I wouldn't be able to run my sprint, if you like, would be so much slower than their ability to do it. And I said, that is mental, the idea that you are massively strong, but actually his strength is negated by his lack of speed.
Yeah. And I think for me, particularly in coming down to the weight class, it's going to work out in my favour is what I'm hoping, that the weight will be lighter, I'm lighter, and I'll still be quick. So fingers crossed.
If you're national, I remember Gregor, after he made the World's Strongest Man final, went back and played for, I don't know, Clarkston or something. And he went, for the first 5 minutes, it was like taking candy off of babies. And I said, how did it go after that? He went, oh, it was awful. It was awful. I never saw the game. So and he said, in the end, some guy just kind of went, hey, big man, you're not so big now, and booted him. And he was on the floor, huffing and puffing. He always, anyway, sorry, just a little story.
That's why you've got to respect rugby, because the energy system, you can't just be the biggest bloke on the pitch. You've got to be fit. You've got to be conditioned.
Yeah, so I'm hoping I can bring that to it, and I think they were surprised at how fast I could actually run, so I was like, I can run. Bobsleigh, just, I'm not really sure about that. I think a bit scary. I've definitely crashed the bobsleigh.
Yeah. Only weird people do bobsleigh.
That's true.
That's because you were a failed bobsleigh race. I'm joking. That's needed skeleton.
Okay.
You know, the head first one.
Yeah, no, I don't want to do that, no.
I'm not sure if you know, but Bryce is actually a Winter Olympian. He never mentions it, ever.
I did know that, actually.
So finally, it's been mentioned in a podcast, thank God.
Well, that's great. So, obviously, talking about merging Giants Live with the Strongwoman, we've got the up-and-coming World's Strongest Nation, where you're in Team UK.
Yes.
So how are you feeling about that?
I'm really excited. Thank you very much. I think it's going to be a good show, and that the women are going to be with the guys can only be good for Strongwoman. I think so. So
definitely,
thank you.
Definitely.
You ready for some big crowd action?
Yeah, I can't wait. Like literally, get me there.
What's your entrance music?
Good question.
I don't know. Probably something like. It depends on the mood I'll be in. Either like retro 90s dance or some Rob Bailey. Probably.
When Neil announces your name, every time I see the entrances, all I think is, I would love to compete in this sport. Just to hear Neil go, it's going to be special, that.
Yeah.
It feels like a special moment for women, particularly in Strongman.
Yeah, I think so. And it'll bring much more attention to the sport as well. And plus it's going to be fun, being with the guys too, I think. Well, I'll be having fun.
So, the format's going to be most probably 3 guys and two girls. Obviously, you're the first girl announced. the guys obviously, are going to be the biggest names in the UK and the biggest names in America. So, what other females do you think should be on Team UK?
That's kind of put me on the spot a bit, isn't it? Really, because there's so many really great ones.
Yeah.
So Andrea, don't say that. Andrea, Annabelle, but I know they're not my decisions. Really, it's all up to you. But that's who.
It's difficult. It's difficult because there's
a lot of talent here.
A few years ago, it would have been really easy to decide, but it's not anymore. And we're looking at the breadth of what they've performed over the last few years as well.
Yeah.
The guys, it's easier because we can see the world's strongest man final, how everyone's doing, and take the top few. But it's going to be exciting to
be fair though, it must still be tough because if you've got a captain, you've got 2 men, 2 women. From the men to choose just 2 blokes from the UK, you think how many we've got?
Well, Pop might have a captain and 3, so it's different.
Oh, captain plus 3?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay, so it's still slightly up in the air.
Possibly, still a bit more wriggle room, Rhett. Still to be TBD, but...
And also, are you
don't hold us to it, right?
Is it even split Scotland, England? Are we going to have Wales in there as well, Northern Ireland?
No, I mean, it's not like the rugby where there's like a national federation of them or something. No, it's just the very best, the greatest British.
It's going to be great.
Against the best of
and it's quite
the
good
US.
Even with the guys, really the Americans and the British have got the biggest field at the minute in Strongwoman and Strongman. So it's pretty cool.
You think Britain does?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, in Strongman, look at the finalists we've got.
You think? I don't know. I'd have to argue with you. I'd say America in the men's.
Oh no, I'm saying between the two.
Between the two, I think the women will pull. Well, you got Tom Stoltman, Britain's world's strongest man. He's not bad.
He does okay.
His brother's all right as well. I mean, it's pretty good.
Well, we've done team shows in the past years ago where it was like quite obvious who was going to win. Whereas this won't be. If you think of the top 3 Americans versus top 3 guys in the UK, without giving away too much, like that's a hell of a show, And also with the females, like I wouldn't be able to call that.
No, it would be really close.
Because end of the day, the guys that are winning all the big titles and the girls that win the big titles are American and UK, really.
Mm-hmm. This is going to boil down to events because the Americans I'm immediately thinking of, and I won't say them in case they're not in or they are in, but you put them in certain events, they're going to fly. You put them in others, they're going to struggle.
The beauty about this format is some events will be team events where there'll be objects to be carried and things like that, and it'll be 5 objects, 5 guys. Other things, you can put your best guy or girl forward to do it. So I think you're going to get optimum performance. So you're going to put your best deadlifter for the deadlift and the best carrier for the carry. So I think you're not going to put the worst deadlifter forward, are you? So you're going to get some real good results.
Maybe we should even have like a special wild card, tagging phone a friend. They could Phil Pfister versus Mark Felix or something in the greatest Hercules whole showdown ever.
Yeah. There's loads of ideas like that. We've got loads of ideas. Just we're boiling it down for the final plan now, but it's looking very exciting.
And this is the first time Giants Live have ever done this.
Ever, yeah.
Properly exciting. Any events you'd immediately go, that's what I want to be in?
Atlas Stones, obviously. I like those. Anything running around, particularly. Overhead press, circus dumbbell probably would be my favourite overhead event. So, yeah, anything like that.
What have you done in a circus dumbbell?
It's my record still at the moment, 82.
Wow, that's massive, isn't it?
That is massive.
That's really cool.
Well, 81 something, 82. It's all in pounds, but try to convert it. So yeah.
Crikey.
I remember when you first started doing dumbbell. You came down to mine. I helped you a little bit. You've got a great coach as well, haven't you?
I've got Jenny does all my programming, and if I'm doing big events and stuff, I go up to Jack at Spartan to do.
But those guys have looked after you for years.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so we work really well together.
Yeah, well, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Do you know the big differences between, especially men's and women's, America and Britain within women's, is the women have been able to train throughout COVID. Mm-hmm. Gyms have been open, and now we sort of forget that actually for the best part of a year, you're having to make do with your own kit.
Yeah, I've just been in my square, which is on a slant outside my house for, in the terrible British weather. So it was quite challenging, to be honest.
Because you weren't at OSG?
No, and that's just really because of my job, and we didn't know about the travelling for definite and stuff like that. So, you have to actually factor your real life into it, I suppose, as well.
Unfortunately, there's a few good athletes that missed that, but it was one of those things. And actually, the rules changed on that week.
That's right, yeah.
And a lot of the guys had to go out there early. It was a bit of a nightmare, to be honest with you. It was still a great show, but there was a few, big names missing.
This year, hopefully, it'll be much more easier to get to America and plan the time off work and stuff like that without having to worry about it.
If I said to you 6 months into COVID, by the way, in 2022, you will be competing in front of thousands of Strongman fans who are going to be going absolutely mental, I bet you'd have taken that.
Yeah, it's something really to look forward to, especially, after everything we've all been through. And just to put the women on a nice platform here, especially here in the UK. It's, nice to be in the UK doing it.
Definitely. We've got a few questions for you that fans have brought in. So what is the hardest challenge to overcome as a female athlete?
I suppose really the guys maybe have the same, but for me it's organising my actual life. Is that trying to work, look after kids, run a house, do everything, and then still train and go and compete and organise that. So that's my biggest challenge, is my actual life.
Yeah.
My actual life is the biggest challenge.
And are you finding
do
now,
it all.
A lot of the guys now, they're getting more and more sponsorship, which is great. So they're getting a little bit of income from that. Even things like kit and clothes and stuff like that. I noticed the girls are starting to get a little bit of that now. Is that helping a lot with you?
Yeah, it does. It helps with, for me personally, it helps with travel.
Yeah.
That's like a big expense and something that I wouldn't necessarily need to worry about as much now. Whereas before I'd have to find all of that on top of everything else.
Yeah.
But so that makes my life a little bit easier now. And,
That's
really
really
having
cool.
kit and stuff, you don't have to purchase it yourself.
How many of the women have sort of, gone full-time, as it were? Is it?
None.
None yet?
No. It's not. I suppose you could potentially do it if you were coaching and stuff like that, and that's something I'm looking at, but I don't think there's ability there to make actual living from Strongwoman yet.
It's
or maybe
there,
in the
though,
future.
isn't it?
But it's just still it's kind of, although it's a big sport because we're involved in it and we see all the fans and everything, but it's still like a world minority sport, isn't it? So the women's section of it is exploding.
Yeah.
In a minority sport, so maybe in the future, but it's
not, really nice
not
to see you
yet.
guys on the, see you on the silverback adverts and SPD and things like that, and that's really positive for it to be going that way.
Yeah, definitely. So everything is all moving forward in a great way.
Yeah.
So in the next however many years, probably when I'm still not doing it,
You'll help someone else get rich in a few years' time.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You want 10%, 20%.
Yeah, that's it.
All your
Did the hard work for you.
Just jump in. Is your dream that you have women's strongman events are the same as men's strongman events, or that it would be together?
Or do you call it Strongwoman?
Well, I just call it Strongman. I'm not necessarily bothered. You can call it whatever you like. It would be nice if that did happen, that it would still be on the same platform. Kind of like CrossFit, the guys and the games is all at the same kind of thing. That would be lovely. But we're not there yet. So any kind of steps that we take towards that is going to be a benefit. Like
at the OSG,
being in the team, would be amazing.
Well, thank you, because at OSG, I got introduced to so many female athletes, and actually, my mind was genuinely blown.
I think at the OSG, I think you're right. I think the OSG is definitely as much about the girls.
Yeah,
I know. As I'm watching it, it's not like a secondary thing there. It's right
I
on the
find it fascinating.
forefront.
Yeah, I find it more so.
And I think it's really competitive, within the classes, at the people that you've got, got lightweights and Rhiannon all battling it out together with Shannon, and then the same as, all through the classes, it was all really close. I watched it online, screaming out the television.
But what do you think of the over 50 men's, though? That was class.
Yeah.
That was quality.
It's great to see all of that. And then even the Masters women, I could go and do that myself, but I'm not going there just yet.
Well, you see, the OSG is more CrossFit-esque, isn't it?
Yeah.
Another question: what made you start with the Strongwoman?
Mine's kind of a bit of a long story, but I'll condense it. I just went to the gym and just for my own health benefits and stuff. Well, just after I had the kids, and I actually did body pump and body attack, like jumping around to retro music, which I did love, I have to say. But even through Facebook all that time ago, a lady in Scotland invited me to a Strongwoman competition, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing that.
From doing body pump?
Yeah,
really?
I was doing body pump. Don't look at me
how
like that.
Related. I remember, but how is that related to Strongman? Or
Well,
Strongwoman?
it wasn't. It was just because that's what I did, is exercise. There was no Strongwoman available. I remember watching Jill Mills when...
Was it Dougie who got hold of you?
No, it was somebody else. And then I did the Highland Games after that. But I just did body pump because I didn't know anything about Strongwoman. Did see Jill Mills, like I say, in the early 2000s. I was like, oh my God, she is amazing and beautiful. And I was just like blown away by her, but I didn't know how to access it or anything. And I wouldn't have been ready at that time anyway. So when it came to me, I was ready, and then we just ran with it really from there.
Cool. What is the highlight of your career?
I suppose there's a few. However, I was just saying, when I was just at the gym, I did a Highland Games, Colin, and you were the compare, and I was like, oh my God, that's the man that does the comparing on the World's Strongest Man. Really? So I was all a bit like, whoa. And then you were asking me where I was from, and I was like, oh, I'm from Yorkshire. And what would you like to be? And I was like, oh, I'd like to be Britain's Strongest Woman. And you were like, yeah, all right. And then when I won World's Strongest Woman in 2017, you had to give me my trophy, and I was like, boom.
So why would I doubt you though?
I don't know. Probably because I was stood there.
Why would you doubt it?
Stood there in my kilt.
Doubting Thomas.
Right.
Well, to be fair, you probably saw me throw something and thought, nah, this is not.
You were a bit ropey, I remember.
Yeah.
You had no practice, did you?
No.
You literally turned up and went for all the day.
Yeah, here's a thing, throw it. I was like, oh.
How'd you get on? What was that calendar?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't calendar. I can't remember which
Glasgow,
one it was, but there was. No, it wasn't even Glasgow. They were ones that I did afterwards. It was. I can't remember where it was. It wasn't far from the house actually, but there was like Shauna that did the. Yes, I think it was, and Shauna from rugby was there. A few other people, German lady, Iceland ladies, and stuff like that. It's just me and my kilt.
Who won? Who won it?
I want to say Annette, I think, from Germany.
Annette, yes. That's
a lot of strongmen started that way as well.
Jeff Capes.
Early days I did the Highland Games. A lot of the guys, you saw some good people come around. Cochlear, all those guys.
At that same event, Tom, did they do was Tom Stoltman there, the first ever?
No,
he was like 17 and he carried the Husafeld stone in a pair of jeans with his top off. No. Unbelievable, and smashed what anyone else did.
He wasn't there. I think the one after that I did was Glasgow Green, and that's where like Benny and
I competed in that one.
You did, that's right. Uncle Clive and everybody was there. So that was fun. I enjoyed doing that. I'm still not any better at throwing, to be fair.
Dougie convinced me to do that at the last minute. I was like, oh no, he said, please come and do it. And I'd retired like 5 years before. It'd just be fun. And then you get there, you go on there because it's fun, but it's not fun.
No.
It's not all of a sudden you got to do this stuff. It's like, actually, this isn't going to be fun.
You got to wrestle Goliath.
Yeah.
You wrestle Goliath.
Yeah.
Dougie, it's hard to say no to Dougie Edmonds. The guys that know him, it was hard to say no to Dougie. Dougie was saying,
impossible.
You were going, it was like, right, okay, I'm going. You know what I mean?
And it was
he's Darren Sadler. He's so brave and tough.
I'll be there,
Mum.
And that was like a Highlander. It was a strongman in Highland Games kind of mixture, wasn't it? And the bagpipes, you can hear them for like 5 days after you've actually gone home. Yeah.
I remember I arrived at that show. I'd done Highland Games years before for Dougie in Calendar. I arrived there. He said, "Where's your kilt?" I said, "I haven't got a kilt. Dougie." Like, right. So he went out and bought me a kilt. Yeah. There's your kilt. You must wear a kilt. As well. So I've still got that at home, but, bless him, went out.
Was that in Scotland?
Yeah.
My kilt was so wrecked, and he knew I was going to wear that kilt to get married out in Colombia, that he sent me down a kilt, a really nice one. Bought one. So he can't wear that.
I think Dougie liked that. I think Dougie liked, giving the guys a kilt. I think it was, really such a nice Scottish thing to do.
Yeah.
And also now I look at it, that's a nice thing to have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously you've sweated and bled in it as well.
Yeah, literally.
Bryce, you'd think all Highland Games take place in Scotland, but that isn't the case.
Well, I mean, it certainly isn't, Rancy.
Canada is a massive.
Well, there's Canada.
I mean, there was at least one or two games in England as well.
The biggest one, I think, on planet Earth is one in Hertfordshire, Colin.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's
how have you fared in that, Colin Bryce?
Well, I'm 2 times champion.
Oh, you mean?
Some say it's the English championship. So yeah, I'll take an English title. 2 actually.
It's all about being the reigning champion, Colin. Presumably you're the reigning champion.
No, I'm certainly not. I took a local lad from Ealing who beat me. I'm not even the strongest man in Ealing.
What advice would you give to any woman to start Strongman? What would be the best advice to give?
I kind of think that don't be afraid to try it. I think maybe that's what puts people off. And now, like, it is more accessible than when I started. And just to go and give it a go, really, because I think you just fall in love with it. I mean, you might not, but if you're there with like-minded people as well, plenty of classes going on, get someone to show you that actually knows what they're doing, so you don't get injured or like mess it up from the start, and just give it a try. I think they'll find it. You don't even have to want to compete. What we've all done. It's just there for like mental health. physical well-being, being active, just doing something totally different. And it does carry over into like general life. People laugh about bringing the dog food in or whatever, but like literally I just do it on purpose and carry like 2 sacks of dog food on my shoulder around Tesco just to be like that.
Sure enough.
Just to be me.
You haven't got a dog.
Yeah. just buying the dog food, yeah. So I'll carry it but underneath both your arms, and like I live in a big army garrison, so I'm again there like doing that on purpose. But it's fun, it's empowering, and you don't have to compete to enjoy it.
Well, the great thing is about the official Strongman is you can actually put it online so you can see where you are before you even go.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these guys, like when they qualify, like, I think they get a bit of shock, no, I've qualified. So now I've got to go to America because it's all online. And some of them are like, I've actually qualified. And they panic a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you upload the videos and it's all you can do, nothing to worry about. But it gives people an air of confidence when they can just look and go, actually, I'm only 20 kilos off that or whatever, Whereas when you got into it, it wasn't like that. You were thrown in the deep end, weren't you?
Yeah, literally. Yeah, my first competition, that's when I'd met some like
you done his body pump.
Yeah, literally, like a lady from Germany, and I remember just watching her on YouTube as I was sitting with my mum the night before, going, "What on earth am I doing here?" Do you know what I mean? It's
baptism of fire.
It really was. And then I've been to another competition in Finland as well, and literally I couldn't even lift anything, and that was like hell in Helsinki, to be fair. And that was kind of like the turning point, if you see what I mean. I was like, if I want to compete with these people, that's when I first met Kristen Rhodes in real life. And actually I've spoken to her since then, and she was like, were you actually in Finland? And I was like, there we go then. So
I know.
She was unbelievably strong, wasn't she? She was at another level.
Very tough, yeah. She felt almost unbeatable for a while.
Is she still competing there?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. But she was great. I can't believe the first time I saw her, I was like, wow, she's so strong.
Yeah, she is.
Unbelievable.
She came to Doncaster, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. She was in Doncaster. Yeah. And, she's a lovely person as well. So it's nice to talk to her. And again, she's done the hard work before me and the other people that have come along, and then myself and the people that are coming after. It's like a progression.
Basically, in the early days, you have to be there to put on a show. It wasn't so much a sport, was it?
No.
I mean, it's the same as Strongman. You're coming to Scotland to put on a show, Darren. Get out there and wrestle a client.
Yeah.
It was like that, wasn't it? That's the sort of the early, and it is entertainment as well as sport, as well as gladiatorial
the rule
stuff.
Out the window.
Let's get it on, whatever. And it's just... It has changed enormously.
Yeah, it's definitely evolved into a sport. There's like we all have coaches, nutritionists, specific training programs and stuff like that. It's not so much just like strong farmery people lifting things, like that. It is an actual
can see by the
competitive sport. Yeah, and people put a lot of time and effort into it.
Imagine if you were an introvert though and just didn't really want to perform in front of 4,000 people or 10,000, 100,000. I mean, the kind of games were massive.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to be willing to put yourself on the line there.
Yeah, you do a little bit. And I think when it comes to it, that is kind of my personality, although I'd be more like quite quiet, really. I suppose other people would say maybe not, but I am. But in that kind of situation, I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, in front of a crowd. You can rock the crowd.
Yeah. No, you definitely, when I watch you compete, it's like, she's well up for this.
Yeah.
I never think, she's a bit nervous. Like, no, she wants to do this, which is cool to see.
I always kind of want to win. Yeah. So,
And how many World Strongest Man titles have you got? I know, but I'm just saying it.
3.
Yeah. That's cool. And so you got beat one year by Andrea, she beat you. That was quite close, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really close, and it was close with Kristen as well.
Yeah.
So that was a really good games. I think that was last year that it was in Virginia, was it? Virginia?
Yeah, it was in Virginia.
And then the year after that, then we got it back, and that was when we all met Victoria Long as well for the first time. Yeah. So we were all like.
But is it a cool thing to say I'm the strongest woman on earth? Yeah,
I suppose it is really, really cool, and I like the fact that I've got 3 trophies. Yeah,
it's all right. It's not a bad thing.
Here's a question: have you won it the most?
Yeah,
I'm going to say I thought you had. Yeah, so you're the Pudzianowski of Strongwoman.
Yeah, that'll do.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, it's true though.
So yeah,
and even when you didn't win it, you were pretty close, weren't you? It was never like no one ever ran away with it.
No, it was a really close contest. That one as well, and Andrea just held all of her shit together for that day. Oh yeah,
so good.
She's really, really good, and like we get on really well now as well. So we like would chat, whereas before we wouldn't necessarily chat, but now we like chat. So it's good.
The more you compete, I mean, the strongmen, I mean, there was times in the early days where you'd maybe have, like Pudzianowski wasn't exactly best buddies with a lot of people, and he kept himself to himself. But there was still a lot of banter and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I think as you start to go on that level of volume of shows, this sort of I hate you, you hate me, it becomes hard to keep up.
Definitely.
You're sort of you both have to sit next to each other on a plane, have meals.
Yeah.
And there's so many good ladies in the UK as well that we all end up kind of like at similar places. So we all do get on, and we've been training together recently and stuff. So that's really nice, that we
There's a massive
all can
team
be like that.
there. And I watch you guys backstage, and everyone helps each other out.
Yeah.
So, everyone says about Strongman anyway, but Strongwomen are like another level to that. They really help each other out.
Here's one question: how far do you see this going? Let's for fun say you're 3 times. You're like a Bill Kazmar in the early days. You're the Kaz, perhaps.
Be the Kaz.
In 45 years' time, 40 years' time since Kaz was involved. 80, 81, 82. 80, 81, 82. So that literally is 40 years, almost exactly. Where do you think Strongwoman will be?
I suppose if you think that where it's come from when Kaz was doing it to where we've got now, it's like kind of like night and day, isn't it, as well? So I'm hoping that for the Strongwoman, it would be the same. And then
100 kilos more in deadlift, for example?
I'm not sure. Who knows? Nobody thought Eddie would lift 5, but here we are. So you just don't know what the girls are capable of.
What have you pulled?
My deadlift's not great, so that's not talking
Don't
about
talk about that one, Brycey. That was
but-
not in the podcast.
Yeah.
Let's talk about press. So what have you jerked overhead?
Yes, that's definitely better. But we've got a circus dumbbell world record, and like Lucy's deadlift is like 300 kilos, and that's no suit or anything. That's just with
the best.
Yeah,
She's unbelievable. I mean, she lives pretty close to here actually, and I've seen her train a few times.
What's Rhiannon called?
Rhiannon's is beastly.
Late 200s. But the thing is with Rhiannon, she's light as well.
She wants to do it
to her.
Rhiannon
For
pound
reps
for pound
is
is unbelievable.
Yeah.
She's unbelievable.
Putting you on the spot slightly, are there any women in any other sport that you really respect their strength in?
I love Olympic weightlifting. I actually find it really therapeutic watching it.
Emily.
So, I love Emily.
She is
Sarah.
unbelievable.
And
Yeah,
I
Sarah's
just like
right.
watching it in general, like all of the weight categories, and the little tiny Chinese ladies that they might have been injured, but they're like, you will lift that again, and you're like, oh,
So
gosh,
efficient,
off you go.
It was beautiful theatre.
Yeah,
It's just
and
wonderful.
when I love watching it all in slow motion too. So I really like watching.
It's the greatest thing to commentate. Here we are.
Yeah,
You can go low, high, it's a record.
but the things you can
Sorry.
take from Olympic lifting and implement it in your strongman programming is immense. A lot of people are missing out if they don't do that. So like mine is not like beautiful. I would not want to see me doing Olympic lifting at all. But there's a lot of crossover.
What could you clean and jerk?
Well,
Or clean and push press?
power cleaning now, even actually making it actually hit my hips, which was a big problem before.
You just went doing
just kind of like
backwards curl.
Yeah, literally reverse bicep curl.
Reverse bicep
So we've
curl.
got like well over 100 now. So it's not my press that's holding me. It's like trying to figure out this whole cleaning thing. So we're getting there. Not quite as graceful. I know I don't want to catch it when I'm squatting.
That's why you got the big guns, though.
Yeah, I do have big guns. Yeah, my entire body weight is sitting there. To be fair.
That's still phenomenally impressive, though. I mean, because even there was a couple of the shot putters. There's a girl called Sophie McKenna right now.
Yeah.
There's a girl called Rebecca Peake before, who used to train with Jeff Capes, actually. Her numbers, bench, squat, dead, overhead, phenomenal.
Because they're all really strong,
Yes.
So it's great to see. I mean, some of them, they could come and try Strongwoman, but they probably
But that's
don't want
what
to
I-
get injured.
And that's what I think could happen now, is that someone who perhaps does shot put might think, you know what, I'll give that a go and see how I get on. Whereas before, it was possibly so niche, you think, not for me, I'll do something I can compete in regularly where there's a format and a structure. Whereas now, having seen OSG, you know what, I fancy a bit of that.
Yeah, and then just a bit more specific event training for those different things, because you need to kind of work out, where you could make up time and where you're not as, strong and stuff. It is a little bit more like tactical, I suppose. When you were talking to Magnus Verren, he'd be saying, he needs to find out every single little detail of all the equipment to give you that best advantage. It literally is that like that now. You want to figure it all out and not tell anyone.
So what are your goals then for the next year or two? What you want to do?
Well, I'd like to make an impact at the 82 class. I would love
You
to.
wanna win it, don't you?
I would love to have another matching one, but at a different weight class.
Yeah.
And just kind of be involved in things now, because
More coaching,
obviously,
you say?
yeah, definitely into coaching, like Strongwoman online, and just regular people in the gym that wanted to kind of change their lifestyle
And win
stuff
World's
like that.
Strongest Nation.
And win the World's Strongest Nation. Just like have a good, happy year. It's been It's been
tough,
difficult, so it's nice to have some like positive things to look out for.
Yeah.
And then especially here as well, not having to travel like so far, but obviously we'll have to travel for OSG, but yeah, let's get there and do that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Big year ahead.
Yeah, loads to
Fun
look
year
forward
ahead.
to. Mm-hmm.
Donna, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your
having
time,
me.
and fingers crossed, in a year's time, you'll be back on here saying the world's strongest woman at under 82 kilograms.
Yeah, then I'll have 4. Yeah.
But we're back because there was one more question the fans needed to know. Donna, the documentary.
Yeah, I worked with a local chap to make a documentary, and it was actually all the way through lockdown, training outside in the snow, and following me of what I was doing. So that's hopefully going to be released sometime soon.
But it's been at Cannes, the great film festival.
I didn't know that was happening, but yep, it won a Sport and Documentary Award at Cannes Film Festival. So it's great for the sport of Strongwoman. You know, that's like something to put it a little bit more on the map. So hopefully when that comes out, people enjoy that. It's, you know, just kind of following me around a little bit, training with Jenny and Jack.
It hasn't premiered yet. You can't see it.
I don't know. Literally, don't know anything about that, but it's just that I'm in it.
Do you know what it's called?
Don Strong.
Nice.
Don Strong.
Yeah. So it's
Don Strong.
Yeah, because that's what Jenny calls me. So not the strong part, just Don. So that's what she affectionately called me. Whether she means it with affection, generally shouting at me. So
is it a full 90-minute? Is it short?
No, it's a little bit shorter than that. I think it's just under an hour. So yeah, we filmed quite a lot of footage for it. So.
It's just real sort of fly on the wall stuff, is it?
Yeah, following the training and, you know, like obviously that I go to work, things like that, you know, trying to get like the kids and stuff in it as well a little bit to see that there's so much more than that we not just doing lifting. This is not our job. That we, you know, have a lot more into it, but yet we're still able to.
Is it better than Eddie's Strongman?
I'm going to say, yeah, of course it is.
Do you know what? It's almost like extraordinary people living an ordinary life.
Yeah. I suppose maybe it is a little bit like that, you know. It is definitely like snippets of me like going to work and stuff and working my shifts and, you know, dealing with life as well as competing and being able to win stuff. So it is interesting, yeah.
So Don Strong, keep an eye out for it.